December 20th, 1968. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of pine and damp earth through the isolated backroads of Benicia, California. David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, two high school sweethearts, were on their first real date. They'd driven David's Rambler out to Lake Herman Road, a popular lover's lane, a ribbon of asphalt winding through quiet, dark fields. It was an idyllic, almost cliché scene of youthful innocence, bathed in the soft glow of the moon. But innocence in the shadows of the Golden State was about to meet something truly sinister. They'd just parked, the engine still ticking softly as it cooled, when another car, its headlights cutting through the inky blackness, pulled up behind them. David, ever protective, probably thought it was just another couple, or maybe a curious local. He opened his door, ready to wave them off. What emerged from the other vehicle wasn't a teenager or a nosy neighbor. It was a mysterious figure, tall and cloaked in shadow. Without a word, the figure raised a gun. Two shots rang out, echoing through the desolate night. David Faraday was shot in the head as he tried to get back in the car. Betty Lou Jensen, panicked, ran screaming into the field. She made it only a few feet before she was shot 5 times in the back. The discovery of their bodies the next morning sent shockwaves through the quiet communities of Benicia and Vallejo. Police were baffled. No robbery, no sexual assault, just 2 innocent teenagers brutally murdered for no discernible reason. The sheer randomness, the cold efficiency of it, was terrifying. Hours later, the telephone rang at the Vallejo Police Department. The dispatcher, a seasoned veteran, picked up. A calm, distorted voice on the other end claimed responsibility for the Lake Herman Road murders. The voice was unnervingly steady, almost mocking, hinting at more to come. This was the killer's first direct contact, an audacious declaration that established a new kind of terror. Then came the 4th of July, 1969. Blue Rock Springs Park, Vallejo. Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau were enjoying the fireworks, their car parked in the secluded lot. A car approached, its headlights blinding them. Michael remembered a peculiar, almost melodic hum coming from the approaching vehicle, a low, sustained vibration that seemed out of place in the summer night, just before the gunshots erupted. The killer opened fire, riddling their car with bullets. Darlene Ferrin died instantly. Michael Mageau miraculously survived. He lay there bleeding, playing dead, as the assailant calmly walked away. When help arrived, Michael provided a vague, haunting description. A stocky white male, perhaps 200 pounds, in his late 20s or early 30s, wearing a dark hooded outfit. He couldn't see his face clearly. Minutes after the attack, the Vallejo Police Department received another chilling phone call. Again, the calm, distorted voice. It claimed responsibility for the Blue Rock Springs attack and, with unnerving precision, referenced the Lake Herman Road murders, even mentioning Darlene Ferrin by name. The dispatcher could hear the chilling confirmation in his tone, a cold, calculating satisfaction. The police realized they weren't dealing with a random act of violence. This was a calculated reign of terror, and it had just begun. The quiet, idyllic California night had given birth to a monster, and it was just getting started with its deadly game. Weeks after the horrifying Blue Rock Springs attack, the terror escalated. 3 identical letters, addressed to the Vallejo Times-Herald, the San Francisco Chronicle, and the San Francisco Examiner, landed on editors' desks, each one a chilling declaration. The sender, a self-proclaimed killer, demanded their publication, threatening more murders if his demands weren't met. The letters weren't just threats. They contained intimate, chilling details of the Lake Herman Road and Blue Rock Springs murders, facts only the perpetrator could possibly know. It was a cold, calculated move, designed to prove his authenticity and strike fear into the hearts of millions. But the letters held another, even more unsettling element. Each one included a complex 408-symbol cipher, a jumbled array of strange characters and symbols. The killer boldly claimed this cipher would reveal his identity. The public was gripped not just by fear, but by a morbid, almost perverse fascination. This was a game, and the killer was setting the rules. One of the Chronicle editors, a seasoned newsman, recalled a faint, almost imperceptible chemical smell on the letters, like a hint of photographic solvent or darkroom chemicals, a detail that would haunt him for years. The pressure mounted. While law enforcement scrambled, the public took up the challenge. And then, a breakthrough. A high school teacher from Salinas, Donald Hardin, and his wife Betty managed to solve the 408-symbol cipher. It was a harrowing read, a rambling, ego-driven confession of the killer's perverse delight in murder. He boasted about his killings, chillingly referring to his victims as collecting slaves for the afterlife. Yet, despite the macabre confession, his identity remained maddeningly obscured, leaving tantalizing fragments like "I am," followed by jumbled, indecipherable symbols. He was here, he was real, but he remained a phantom. The Zodiac wasn't finished with his bloody game. On September 27, 1969, the nightmare returned, this time to the serene shores of Lake Berryessa. Cecilia Shepard and Brian Hartnell were enjoying a quiet picnic by the water when a man approached them. What set this attack apart was the killer's bizarre appearance. He was dressed in a hooded executioner's costume, complete with an apron-like bib, and emblazoned on his chest was a stark white cross-circle symbol, the symbol that would forever be associated with his reign of terror. He tied them up with pre-cut clothesline and then, with terrifying deliberation, stabbed them brutally. Brian, despite his horrific injuries, miraculously survived. His harrowing account painted a chilling picture. The killer's voice, he recalled, was oddly calm and flat, almost devoid of any human emotion, and the crude, homemade nature of the costume felt deliberately theatrical, designed to terrify. Minutes after the attack, another chilling phone call reached the Napa Police Department. The calm, cold voice of the killer once again meticulously described the Lake Berryessa crime, confirming his identity. The fear gripping Northern California now escalated beyond anything imaginable. The Zodiac was no longer confined to isolated roads. He was daring, audacious, moving his deadly game into public recreational areas, his message clear: nowhere was safe. The Zodiac was a ghost in the machine, and now he was bringing his game to the city. October 11, 1969, Presidio Heights, San Francisco. The bustling streets, the iconic cable cars, the vibrant tapestry of city life, all of it was about to be stained by the monster from the quiet woods. Paul Stein, a hardworking cab driver, picked up a fare that night, unaware he was driving straight into a nightmare. He was found slumped over the wheel of his taxi, shot in the head. This was the most public murder yet, pulling the Zodiac's terror from the isolated roads and remote parks directly into the heart of a major American city. The brutality of the act was shocking, but what followed was a botched intercept that would haunt the San Francisco Police Department for decades. 3 teenagers, peering out their window, witnessed a man wiping down the cab. They described a stocky man in a dark jacket. They even watched him walk away. The police, unfortunately, were dispatched to the wrong location, missing the killer by mere minutes. The sheer frustration of this near miss was palpable, an agonizing testament to the Zodiac's elusive nature. One of the teens later recalled seeing the man fidget with something small and metallic around his neck, like a pendant with the Zodiac symbol, though the detail was lost in the chaos of the moment. The San Francisco Chronicle received a chilling new letter just days later, postmarked October 13, 1969. It claimed responsibility for Stein's murder. As if to prove his gruesome point, the letter contained a piece of Paul Stein's blood-stained shirt, a grotesque trophy that solidified the Zodiac's authenticity beyond any doubt and escalated his psychological warfare against the authorities and the public. The media, hungry for a name to latch onto the escalating terror, seized upon the self-proclaimed moniker. The Zodiac Killer was born, a terrifying household name that became synonymous with fear. Police departments, already overwhelmed, faced immense pressure from a terrified public and desperate politicians. The Zodiac wasn't just a killer, he was a twisted artist, a perverse showman. The letter accompanying the piece of Stein's shirt also included a chilling, cryptic drawing of a bomb, along with a horrifying threat to attack a school bus, filling parents across the Bay Area with a cold dread. On November 8, 1969, the Zodiac sent his most infamous taunt, the 340-symbol cipher, to the San Francisco Chronicle. Unlike the previous, simpler cipher, this one was a masterpiece of cryptology. Despite decades of tireless effort by codebreakers, linguists, and amateur sleuths, this cipher remains largely unsolved to this day. It is a persistent testament to the killer's sick genius, a mocking challenge etched into the very fabric of American true crime. Each unsolved symbol, each jumbled sequence, became a source of agonizing obsession for those dedicated to unmasking him. The terror was no longer just about the murders. It was about the chilling intelligence of a killer who seemed to delight in his anonymity, playing a deadly game of cat and mouse with an entire metropolitan area, leaving behind only fear and an unbreakable code. Through 1970, the Zodiac Killer's chilling correspondence continued, a relentless psychological assault on the Bay Area. More letters arrived at the newspapers, each one a fresh taunt, filled with philosophical musings on death and cryptic threats of future bloodshed. He consistently mocked the police, claiming more victims than officially confirmed, hinting at an unseen trail of bodies. His letters often included the sinister cross-circle symbol and strange, almost astrological diagrams, as if his reign of terror was somehow orchestrated by the stars themselves. Then came the infamous Pied Piper letter, a particularly grotesque piece of mail. In it, the Zodiac explicitly detailed his plan to use a death machine to blow up a school bus, claiming the children would be his slaves in the afterlife. The threat alone sent shivers down the spines of parents across California, prompting school districts to tighten security and reroute buses. But the letter held an even more disturbing detail, a detailed hand-drawn map of the Bay Area, with cryptic symbols marking specific locations. And almost imperceptibly, a small, almost invisible cross-circle symbol was etched onto the map of Mount Diablo, a peak long associated with local legends and rumored occult activities. Amidst the escalating fear, cold case detectives began to re-examine older, unsolved murders, searching for any possible connection to the Zodiac. Their attention turned to the 1966 murder of Cherry Jo Bates in Riverside, California. A chilling poem found carved into a desktop near her body, along with a confession letter mailed to the police, bore striking similarities to the Zodiac's distinctive style and handwriting. This potential link, if proven, would not only extend the timeline of the killer's activities, but also expand his geographic reach, hinting at an earlier, unacknowledged reign of terror long before the name Zodiac ever appeared. With law enforcement seemingly stymied, ordinary citizens, gripped by fear and a desperate need for answers, became obsessed with the case. Arthur Lee Allen quickly emerged as a prime suspect. He bore a strange resemblance to one of the police composite sketches, a sketch later recanted as potentially inaccurate, adding another layer of frustrating ambiguity. Despite mounting circumstantial evidence against him, including his suspicious behavior and proximity to some of the crimes, DNA and fingerprint evidence never definitively linked him to the Zodiac letters or crime scenes. Yet, the suspicion lingered. A former colleague of Allen's came forward, claiming Allen had a bizarre obsession with astrology and celestial alignments, and often drew the very Zodiac cross-circle symbol in his notebooks, long before it became infamous. The Zodiac continued to send ciphers, some smaller, some seemingly random, each one feeling like a personal insult to law enforcement. The frustration within the police departments of Vallejo, Napa, and San Francisco grew palpable, leading to internal conflicts and a deepening sense of dread that this monster, this brilliant, twisted mind, would never be caught. The killer was playing a game, and he was winning, leaving a trail of death and undecipherable riddles in his wake. January 29, 1974. The last confirmed Zodiac letter arrived. It was brief, chilling, and utterly perplexing, simply stating he was back with us and referencing the horror film The Exorcist. Then, with that final cryptic missive, the letters stopped. The phone calls ceased. The murders, at least the officially attributed ones, ended. The Zodiac Killer, this phantom of terror, simply vanished as silently as he had appeared, melting back into the shadows from which he'd emerged. Decades later, the infamy of the Zodiac Killer only grew. The 340-symbol cipher remained stubbornly unsolved, a constant taunt etched into the annals of true crime. Theories about its meaning spiraled into countless rabbit holes, a name, a location, a final, horrifying message about his true motives. Amateur sleuths, codebreakers, and dedicated true crime podcasters devoted their lives to cracking it. One controversial linguist, who had spent years obsessively studying the ciphers, claimed to have found subtle mathematical patterns within the 340, hinting at a celestial map or a specific timing sequence for his actions, tied to lunar cycles and astrological events. It was a bizarre claim, but in a case this strange, nothing felt impossible. The Zodiac Killer's identity remained one of America's greatest, most chilling unsolved mysteries. The profound, unsettling thought that he had lived among them, walked free, and perhaps even died a natural death was a terrifying pill to swallow. The psychological impact on the investigators, the traumatized victims' families, and the entire Northern California region was profound and lasting. Fear had a new name, and it resonated long after the active terror subsided. The case continued to spawn a perverse cult following. Online forums buzzed with theories, documentaries dissected every clue, and every new piece of circumstantial evidence or discarded theory reignited the public's morbid obsession. Was he Arthur Lee Allen? Someone else entirely? A serial killer who simply stopped? Or perhaps, a more terrifying thought, a killer who had simply moved on or transformed, leaving a new hidden trail of devastation elsewhere? The cross-circle symbol, once a mark of terror, now stood as the ultimate cold case, a chilling emblem of an intelligent, elusive evil. The story of the Zodiac Killer wasn't just a tale of murder, it was a psychological thriller, a game of cat and mouse where the mouse always outsmarted the hunters. It was a testament to the fact that sometimes monsters do win. The Zodiac Killer, whoever he was, won the ultimate game, disappearing into the shadows, leaving behind only fear, unanswered questions, and a legacy that continues to haunt America. The unheard whispers of the unsolved ciphers continue to echo through time, a chilling reminder that some secrets are meant to stay buried, and some games are never truly over.